is the all-new 2019 Honda Passport, and as you can see from the mud, we've already been having some fun with it today out here in lovely Moab, Utah. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't that thing basically just a Honda Pilot? Well, no, not exactly. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the new Passport and all of the things that make it different from the Pilot. So this video is going to tell you everything you want to know, well, except for two things: pricing and driving impressions. Those two things are embargoed, so make sure you come right back here to TFL Car next Tuesday, January 29th, for my full review of this Honda Passport, including full pricing and how it drives. So the first point, and you're going to see it right away, is just the styling. The Passport looks different. Now down the sides and around the back, not so much, but up here in the front is where the Passport really makes its statement. And what makes it different is this piano black trim. You get a unique black grille, a whole lower fascia, which is different from the Pilot, and then along the sides, you get that plastic cladding over the wheel arches. It gives it a bit of a tougher, brawnier look, and that's what Honda is going for. Although, you know what, I think they did just enough to change it. I think they could have done a little more though. So now let's just talk about the size. The Passport here slots in between the CR-V and the Pilot, and the biggest difference in size is right here. The Passport is 6.2 inches shorter than the Pilot, and all of that is taken out of the rear overhang. The wheelbase here is 111 inches. That's actually identical to the Pilot, so same wheelbase, but you get a much shorter rear overhang, and this vehicle sits taller than the Pilot, but we'll get to a little bit more on that later when we talk about off-road. One last little point about the styling: the rear windshield here is actually much more raked than it is on the Pilot. The Pilot is much more vertical, and that just kind of adds to the sporty stance and character that Honda's going for with the Passport. So to go along with the Passport's sort of fun, sporty nature, Honda also tuned the exhaust to sound a little more aggressive than it does in the Pilot. Take a listen. It's not bad. Just look at these wheels. No, not really these ones, they're a bit dirty, but look at these clean wheels. Now on the Passport, this thing gets standard 20-inch wheels. So even if you buy a basic model, you're still getting 20s. So now let's talk about the differences on the interior, and there are a bunch, but from this front seat forward, including this whole center stack, this is basically just a Pilot. But in the back of the Passport, here's where things are different. So the Pilot can be an 8-seater. The Passport here is just a 5-seater, so you only have a second row. There's no third row of seats. This is me sitting behind where I would sit to drive, and I actually have, just enough leg room. Headroom is decent. I'm not really hitting the roof. I could definitely ride back here for a long period of time. But let's go look in the back because it's also different from the Pilot back there. So out back here is where the Passport's really different than the Pilot, and Honda says that this is where this thing really excels next to the competition. So if you look back here, behind that second row, you're getting 41.2 cubic feet of space, and if you fold them down, which is as easy as a touch of a button right there, if you fold both of those seats down, you're getting a total of 78 cubic feet of storage space, which is best in class. Now, besides that, Honda also has a little trick right here. Check this out. They basically have designed a little trunk down here. Now, if you know the Ridgeline, Honda loves trunks. So this is just a nice little area to have secured storage. And if you open the big piece up, you even have a second piece here right next to your spare tire. So the way Honda is going to sell the Passport is also different from the Pilot, and what I mean by that is with the trim walk. So the basic Honda Passport is a sport model, which on other Hondas is sort of a step up from base, but the company kind of believes that people buying the Passport, they're not going to want a basic vehicle. They already want a few extra features and goodies, so they don't even offer a base model. You jump right into the Sport. So you start at Sport, and moving up you go to EXL, Touring, and then Elite. And let me just read you some of the features that come on that basic Sport model. So you're getting auto stop start, those 20-inch wheels that I mentioned, Honda Sensing, and this is interesting because Honda Sensing is now standard on a lot of Honda's vehicles, including the Passport. So even the basic model gets that whole suite of driver assistance technologies. The Sport model also gets LED fog lights, tail lights, and headlights, a dual exhaust, remote engine start, smart entry and exit, tri-zone auto climate control, an 8-way powered driver's seat, a 6-speaker audio system, multi-angle rear view camera, and 2 USB ports. So those are the basic features, but spend some more money and get up to that Elite model, and you're getting things like ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, wireless phone charging, rain sensing wipers, and auto dimming side mirrors. So remember, I can't tell you how the Passport drives yet, but what I can tell you is that the steering ratio has been made quicker than that in the Pilot in an attempt to make this thing a little bit more sporty. Did they succeed? Well, you'll have to come back for the full review to find out. So I know this video is about differences, but there is one elephant in the room we have to address, and it's right here. That is the same engine as out of the Pilot. It's a 3.5-liter V6, makes 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, and it's mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. And just like the Pilot, the Passport here is front-wheel drive based, though all-wheel drive is available, and it can send up to 70% of its power to the rear wheels. So the biggest difference here, and something Honda worked really hard on, is off-road capability. So the Passport here sits 0.8 inches taller than the Pilot. That's off the ground. That means the Passport has 8.1 inches of total ground clearance. That of course helps out all of the angles. So the approach angle here is 21.4 degrees. That's also thanks to this redesigned front fascia. And just for reference, that's about a full degree better than the Honda Pilot, but it's out back where this thing really is different than the Pilot. So thanks to this thing sitting taller, the breakover angle is marginally better than a Pilot at 17.7 degrees, but back here is where the real difference is. Remember, this thing is 6 inches shorter, so the rear overhang is way shorter, which gives it a 27.7 degree departure angle, which is pretty respectable, and it's about 7 degrees better than a Pilot. And guys, don't forget my full review, including pricing and driving impressions and some real fun off-roading. That will go up next Tuesday, January 29th. And as always, make sure you go below right now, hit subscribe, come back here to TFL for the latest news, views, and real-world reviews. See ya.